All right, welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is still the press coming to you live from the Abuja studios of KAFTAN television. And like you know, on this press will catch us to speed with everything happening on our national dailies. We've given you updates from the national daily, but now we have a guest in the studio to analyze some of these headlines that we brought to you earlier. And this is just a reminder that our phone lines are open for you to call and join the conversation. Thank you, Mr. Sarudana, for joining us on the program this morning.
Thank you, Sandra, Annabel, for having me.
Good morning. You're welcome to the program. So let's quickly begin. And before I even take the headlines from the national dailies as it was reported this morning, I want to get your thought on generally on everything that has been going on in Adamawa State.
The general perspective of what happened during this inconclusive election in Adamawa State, that is the governorship election. There was a kind of serious drama that took place during while one of the residential electoral commissioner decided to just announce the result without conclusion. And then when it comes to the national body, we saw what happened. And yesterday somebody was sworn in, was announced again. And though democracy has won by what is going on, because only in democratic setup that you find this type of brouhaha and later a result will be given or will be gotten. The reason why I'm saying this, in democracy you can see, you can able to see more fight, more drama, more brouhaha than this, and later it will going to be resolved. So in a nutshell, the INEC and the public have done what they supposed to do to the best of their knowledge. And generally, when you look at what happened on the last Saturday election across the length and breadth of Nigeria, at least INEC have done a very wonderful job. What am I trying to say? The materials was taken to the most of the places in time, and then the election was stopped at the appropriate time, and so I have given them 65%. Okay. Yes, mark. If to say I will going to recommend them for what happened. It's just that out of these places that there was rerun in 24 states, what happened in Adamawa became a special case. But notwithstanding, I think we are getting a headway from yesterday. Okay, like you made mention, you said something, and you said we're in the step on the step to the right direction in terms of democracy. So you would say all of this, both the events from the presidential elections and what has been going on in Adamawa State and everything that has been going on, you putting everything together, you also think that we are still on the right track? Yes, because that is democracy, where you will air your opinion, and I will add my own opinion with the thought of I am standing on the best. Then later in the day we'll come back to the table and find out from the constitutional making and the electoral acts that makes it all, and then we can able to garner what we want to get at the end of the tunnel. And that is why we are saying they are getting it right. We are getting it right. Okay.
All right then, so let's take some headline from the Vanguard newspaper still in that regard. Says Adamawa gubernatorial crisis at last, INEC declares Fintiri winner. And then the writer to the story says as INEC writes IGP SGF to seek sack, arrest and prosecution of Adamawa rec. Fintiri commends INEC for standing firm, extend hands of fellowship to contenders. It is victory for democracy. That's coming from PDP. Atiku congratulates Fintiri, says victory well deserved. IGP replaces Adamawa CP. And then you have APC candidate Aisha loses bid to stop result announcement. Within all of this, like some people will call it show of shame, the charade and all that happened last weekend, and then you have the APC candidate returning back to court, and then at some point it was thrown out, and then at some point there's a hearing again. And what do you make of that? Is this really a win for democracy?
Yes, this is what we are talking about. That is what we call democracy. Democracy is all about agreeing and disagreeing. Democracy is all about coming down to the shoulders and coming back to the main road. Democracy is all about disagreeing and agreeing. At the end of the day, let me tell you, this is a serious case and crisis that will go through, what will I call it, surround Adamawa state gubernatorial election. Because what I know and what I believe you might assume, that some person that was announced in the first place, she will continue to, she will proceed to court. And you know what it means. It is only court of prudent jurisdiction that will determine what will happen at the end of the day. Because that is when they even announce her, they are talking about some are talking about section 147 of the electoral law of 2022 amended, and that of section 149. But whatever the reasons is this, we are moving, because at the end of the day, we have gotten somebody that they have announced that is the INEC headquarters, that this is the right person. The other person who was announced by the Residential Electoral Commissioner. And remember, there is what we call returning officer, who is normally sent as an ad hoc staff to conduct only that election and announce the election. It is only when there is a kind of friction, which I believe maybe there is. That was why the Residential Electoral Commissioner went ahead and announced that result. Is
that supposed to be an excuse for friction why he had to usurp the power of his returning officer?
Definitely, the returning officer were mentioned and the commissioner at the 147 of the amendment law, section 147, where they are mentioning the returning officer, the residential commissioner, or anybody from the government side or whatever that INEC have seen deemed fit to announce that result. And once he announced that result, in the section 149 is saying that definitely that result cannot be annulled by INEC. The only person or anybody that have a right to annul that very pronouncement should be court or tribunal. But what we don't know, we have seen the person that was announced went to the court for ex parte, and the ex parte was to stop them from continuing process of anything to do with Adamawa presidential gubernatorial election. Do you understand what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, something has happened. The INEC did not stop because they have a section that they are dependent on by saying that any court has a right to stop any election process when INEC is undergoing it. So for that reason, there are two things that are very difficult. The other person who announced it have his own reasons that at the section 149, when there is a problem, then he has a right to announce because he's one of the people that were mentioned. Then after he announced, he knew that nobody has a right to stop that very pronouncement, only a court of jurisdiction or tribunal. But again, the same INEC went ahead with the process with the reasons that they have a section that has covered them. When there is election process, any court has a right to stop that very process. So at the end of the day, I know it's something subject to going to the court, and already they have started. We will going to see what happened. But I don't want to be emotional attacked, neither accept illegality. But the fact remains, in Nigeria, we should not allow women to be participating if that should be the case. Because at the
I knew we were going to get down to that, so I was waiting for you. With all that everyone is saying, that are you actually looking at the fact that some people will say, I don't want to be religious at the moment, but then they will say that a woman is not supposed to be a governor, especially in the north, because of XYZ. Can you explain the source?
Thank you very much. If it is coming from the north and they are saying that a woman has no right to lead, she was a House of Rep member. Was she not a leader? She was a she's a present serving senator. Is she not a leader? The same thing when we are talking about late Aisha Al-Hassan. You remember her? With blessed memory. She was a senator. She contested a governor. That election, there was a sign that she won the election. But they went to tribunal. But when the tribunal pronounced that she lost, you have nothing to say.
But it's almost like this
what
case
I
too.
knew these cases is that the Muslims, Ummah, are saying that we supposed not to give a woman to lead. But somebody who became a senator, a House of Rep, a senator, the same thing with the late Aisha.
But isn't that the same thing that happened to Aisha at some point?
That is
almost
true.
the same thing.
I am not in the support of what is happening. In the first place, if I know that I am a Muslim, the Muslim laws are there. So why should I allow her to go and become a house of representative? And when she is sharing things to them, both the people that are pronouncing that things, they are collecting it. When she moved on to be a senator, the same woman is doing what she's doing. When she came out to contest, the same people that are talking, they are watching her. Nobody told her, don't go. She contested. And I know, you know those who she contested with in the primaries. There was a former AIG, and a former AFCC boss, Nuhurumado. He has every reputation in Nigeria. Secondly, the immediate former governor of Adamawa State then, Bindo Jibrila. For God's sake, for a woman to defeat these very giant people, and at the end of the day, when it comes to general election, some of us are persuading others by using religion. I'm very disturbed.
So how do we even get it right with what you just said? Because we keep clamoring for women inclusion in politics. So is it not going to be like there's some kind of your woman can be included in politics in some regions and not some? So and you also said that we're in the right direction towards democracy, but we cannot get it right if we don't take away religion and ethnicity from this.
You see, Sandra, we in the North, we are very good in politics, whether someone like it or not. There are those who, even if she will contest for a governorship, she can win. Nobody will say she is not supposed to lead. That is when you go to South, maybe South East or South West, some of the states. You understand what I'm saying? But no woman can able to go to the final stage like that in those places. No woman. Yeah, we are in democracy. Who has ever been to the final stage, either in APC, PDP? None. But in this northern Nigeria, we have two women now. One, she came from opposition that time when the APC was in opposition, and she emerged the gubernatorial candidate of a state like Taraba State. Now somebody is coming from the government at the center, and she emerged as a candidate. Can you say that these people are not playing
a particular
democracy?
woman emerged as the presidential candidate during the 2023 elections too.
Yes, they are. But the types of parties that those people are emerging, let us be very honest. Maybe if you go to US, we are talking about Democrat and what do we call it? Republicans. Are they the only parties that are participating? They have about 29 parties. But some are lanky parties that this type of small parties that we are having in Nigeria. You will not hear about them. They used to win even election, maybe a House of Reps or anything in their counties. The same thing when you go to UK. It is not only the Labour Party and what they call that Conservative Party that is only present. There are other parties, but even them they have even independent party. If you don't want to join the party, you can go as an independent and contest. If your people love you, they can vote for you. But most of the world democracy, it has to do with institution of party, and these parties are very important. And this woman that we are talking about, one came from opposition and went in the second largest party, biggest party then in Nigeria, and even they took over that very year, 2015. The same party, somebody came there as a woman again, as when the government is at the center. The same woman has been denied. I am just telling you that this woman, if I speak my mind based on what I have understand, she won the election.
But taking into consideration the figures, this from this Nigerian Tribune, it says with 32,073 votes margin, Fintiri won Benani. So how would you say she won if we're talking about lesser figures? I think I will buy into that. But 32,000 is a lot of. I
think now they have ordered the Inspector General of Police to arrest, probe and want to execute the Residential Electoral Commissioner.
Yes.
You will hear what will come out. That is when you will understand what I'm talking about. Do you realize? I saw her yesterday talking. I was almost weeping. My heart was bleeding because this is a woman who stood firmly and got her mandate. She campaigned from nook and crannies of Adamawa State. This is a woman who said that the other last time what caused the extension of inconclusive election because the government connive with some of the electoral INEC staff in some of their security that are serving the governor to be going local government by local government and molesting the public. They even hijacked the returning officer of one of the local government. As she was talking yesterday, she said up to now the man is in the he was beaten to the to coma, that he's still in the hospital. Have they said about that? The last local government that there was crisis about is for the local government. For the local government, what they have in the portal of INEC, it is not what was announced. And that was what led to the process of inconclusive. But when they made the inconclusive, Fufore was not included. What were you going to say about this? It's not a sham. We men that we are talking that we are men, are we very sympathetic? Are we very worthy being where we are? Anyway, one of the House of Rep member, they were celebrating World Women Day sometimes back, about 2 or 3 years, when he was asked to speak or to contribute in the assembly. He said he congratulates some of his members, colleagues, women, but he wants to tell them that the women are more in number in Nigeria. Mr. Speaker, if we allow these women to be here, they will send us packing. Maybe that is the reason. Because they are more number than us. Any man or woman that will want to win election in Nigeria, the highest number of voters are coming from you people. And by that reason, maybe we are corny men. I have to accept this and be confessing. In this situation, there is something that I'm not happy with, to be honest.
Alright, sorry to cut you short, Annabel. We have a text message from one of our viewers, and he says, "There's nothing like democracy. Aisha failed the election. There is no court." It said, "No court will sit on Aisha Binani's case," and that's coming from one of our viewers. I just had to read that text message so that he or she will know that we got their message. Please go on.
All right, so please keep the text or the calls coming. Now, we're still on politics. I hear you say the connivance, talk about connivance of INEC staffs in this regard. Now, let's talk about connivance here. I've seen some people say that the INEC chairman or even INEC themselves, they don't have the moral grounds to speak anything with regards to the Adamawa wreck that with all that he did. But then, on the flip side, let's talk about this story of the house leader Doguwa, who won the NNPP candidate, who won the seats rather, majority leader, House of Representative and member representing Doguwa Tunduwada Federal Constituency, Al Hassan, as he won. And they recall that few weeks ago he was remanded in prison for I think it was 20 count charges with regards to murder and all of that. And then so I recall also talking to the INEC Commissioner Festus Okoye, and then he said that they would definitely drop his name from the list. And then all of a sudden you just hear that he won. Help us understand this. Is there a connivance here too?
Thank you very much, Annabel. The other time when the election was declared, he was declared the winner of that very constituency. But later in the day, the returning officer came out in public and said that he announced the Dogwa name under duress. I think that was what happened.
Yes.
And for that reason, he was not going to be given his certificate of return. There will be a by-election that is inconclusive. So they went for inconclusive. That time he won the election with about 4,000 plus votes. So they cancelled some places where they felt it is unfair. There was no election or whatever. The reason behind it, they cancelled the vote of those places, and there was a by-election. The places where they cancelled have about 7,000 votes, and still he won the election. So what is the big deal there? The big deal is that he was taken to a court.
And then he was even remanded on murder charges.
For murder charges.
So what happens to those that had lost their lives?
Because there was nothing like that. If there is, have you seen it even in the social media? The social media that we have in Nigeria, You know them. Even if
but there was a reason why he was taken to prison.
He was taken to the prison because that time people were emotionally. People thought it was true. And when you took a case like that, accusing somebody for killing people, how dare are you if you are in the judge position? You have to remind him. Consider people crying. But when you are found not guilty or found things are shady, you have nothing to do. Up to now, nobody will show you where those people that have died. Nobody showed this. Let me tell you, even among those people who are fully talking, who are on top or on the media, the one of his best person was shown carrying a gun, who is a member House of Representatives, who won the federal constituency, Alimada Kingini. He was not arrested. Nothing has happened up to date. He was walking.
Probably because he's always used to making some statements. I recall a lot of statements.
The reason why
I listened to.
You see, in Nigeria, if you are very good in crying, very good in talking, nobody will go to see your faults. But whenever they beat you, you won't cry. People doesn't know whenever they beat you, they have been beating you. Whenever you have taken to your revenge, that is when people will see it. Have you listened to him when he was talking? His people were having a meeting somewhere at Kano. The opposition came and attacked them and burned some of his cars and his house. It was there. It is not a story. And then, but when they started talking, even the person that they said that Dogwa was the person was in person who shot at him. When the man was taken to was called, when they were called to come, you know that is the normal process in the court. You will come in number. There's asking when you saw the person, the Dogwa, you remember him. He said yes. When Dogwa came, with them they were sitting down. He pointed a different person. So meaning he doesn't know even Dogwa. He was asked to do that. It's a calculative something. Do you know the reason? They don't want him to be a speaker. And when there will be a contest in the Northwest.
So now is INEC going to replace his name since they removed his name at the point when he became the winner?
It has never removed their name. They never removed his name. They have no reason why they should remove his name.
So that time they told us that they were removing his name.
They were just telling you because sometimes they will tell. Is it not the same Festus Okoye that announced what happened after the declaration in Adamawa? Is it not the same person that has been announcing different things that sometimes you see the lefty part of it? What we are talking about is this. The politics is beyond what we are thinking now or what we are seeing. Once they realize that you have a potential, all that what we are talking about, they're not supposed to get Senate President by rationalism. You know that it's going to the South. By rationalism, it is going to the South, either the Southeast or South-South. And definitely they know that when it goes to the South, the speakership is coming to the North. And so long it is coming to the North, it is going to the Northwest. Because the Northwest has nothing in this election. And if definitely is coming to the Northwest, he is a majority leader. He has been in the group integrity group since 2007. He is among the integrity group. And the Adamawa has been playing the leadership, coming to Dogara, Tambuwal them, Femi Bajamila them, Bankole, all those are group of integrity. And now he is coming, I think, to fifth time. Tell me he's made among them. If it is not Femi Bajamila, the outgoing speaker. So this is only a political reason.
So all of this just say it's politicking.
It is politicking. If it is not political, let them show you the corpse of those people that died. They even say 15 corpses. Later they came with 9. Later it came down to 2. And up to now the 2 nobody. They show somebody that said it was him that shoot him. When they took the man and present these people, the man cannot point at who is Dogwa. Sandra, what are we talking about? That is why when we talk about this Adamawa thing, it's very, very unfortunate. We are law-abiding citizens. We believe in what our laws will decide for us. But at least sometimes the pains are there. You cannot deny the pains. That is why you hear Atiku Abubakar is shouting. You are hearing Peter Obi is talking. Maybe because they knew something where they have been pinched. Now you will be surprised. The unfortunate part of it is this. This man is not only fought by the party. by her opposition, even with some of her party members, place anti-party, and we know that names have been mentioned. We know that, but she is a good, heartful person. Up to now, she has never pointed at someone to vote anybody. When Nuhu Ribado took her to court after in the primaries, she won in the lower court. He went to appeal court. When Tinubu gave her the coordinator of Tinubu Shetima campaign in Adamawa, she dropped the job. She said she don't want it. So long he is watching and these things are happening, there is no point for her to be campaigning for him, because Nuhu Ribado is his boy. Yes, he's an Adam supporter. He has been with him. He has offered him a presidential candidate 2007 under AC. Now they are one of the best people that are very close alliance of the Ashwaju. Then why is Ashwaju allowing this thing to happen? And later, that is how she reclaimed her mandate through the appeal court. And then the man went back. He wanted to even proceed to Supreme Court, but maybe they sat down and talked. But is it enough to tell you that there is reconciliation?
All right, so she has actually fought a lot of cases, and then she remains steadfast and strong, so I'm sure that this one would not break her at all. Let's leave politics and move to insecurity. Vanguard newspaper still says kidnapped Kaduna female student escaped from terrorists. Another story says China denies funding terrorists to access Nigeria mineral reserves. And on the flip side, you have renewed killings, Buhari parting gifts. That's coming from Northern Christian elders. That with all of these killings, I'm sure they're looking at all that has been happening in Bauchi, in Zengo Kataf, and all of that. What are your thoughts on this? There are two different stories right here. Renewed killings, that's Buhari's parting gifts coming from Northern Christian elders. And on the flip side, says China denies funding terrorists to access Nigeria's mineral reserves.
Okay, Annabel, I will start with the China. About China, there must be two things involved. There is either true or there is propaganda to send them packing out of African countries, because there are some countries that are not happy with them. What China is doing to African countries and underdeveloped countries, whenever they have something to do, they even give a gift. They have a gift to offer to those very countries. Let me give you an example. After been constructing our railway to a modern gauge line, your standard gauge, they offer us a University of Transportation, a free gift without a penny of anybody in Nigeria. This is what the other countries that we have been partnering together for a quite long time have not been doing to us. Take it US, UK, France, and any other countries. They rather come and siphon the African countries and leave. When you offended them, they create a faction and overthrow the government. This is something that we knew, and we don't need to extend that. Secondly, there are some of these Chinese people that were citizens that were arrested in Zamfara some times back, that after the federal government has stopped and gave a directive of order that no miner should continue mining in Zamfara. They were mining.
At the time when they did no flying zone.
And they were arrested, were shown in the government house. This is one of the Waterloo that the governor that is going out, who lost election, found himself. Because you must know that these Chinese are having a good people, a people of high level in the country that are bringing them for the mining. So automatically he has stepped into toes. You know what that means?
Yes.
And that is why he is losing the election woefully, or he lost the election woefully. One of the reasons. And if you are doing what you are doing, I think you have watched somebody like former Chief Security Officer to General Sani Abacha, Major Hamza Al-Mustafa, when he was making some confessional statement.
During his campaign.
Not at Berkati family. He was having 4 hours program. And I watched him and I heard him very well. Some of these statements are very, very, how would I call it, worrisome. Very, very worrisome, scary when you heard what is the type of statement, which I said is not for the consumption of people like us. The reason why I was saying this, he was a security chief personnel, and he has known a lot. There are things that you cannot say it on in public, so that people will not start seeing their
don't create panic.
Panic. He even cited, when they were talking, the Berkete person cited a place here after Takushara, after behind Kabusa there, that the Chinese are bringing some stones there. One stone will fill a complete tipper. They only start operation around 10 to 11, 12 in the midnight. Once they have done that, you will not see them again until maybe the next day in that very hour. So where are they taking those stones to? He even cited some of the, when you go to southeast, most of the sand that are reddish there, you know the reason why the Chinese are fishing the sand there? It's a coal. He even talk about one of these mineral resources that is found in Borno, that one of them something is about $8 million or something like that.
Yeah.
So if you are talking about this time of primordial behaviors that we are seeing from the Chinese, we may suspect them. But what am I afraid? I wish it is not, and hope not, a propaganda from those who are seeing them taking over Africa by a very good and mutual understanding. We have been taught, you see, a lot of things are happening in the world. People are thinking on our behalf, and they will say, "Oh, Annabel, you are feeling hungry." You will say, "Yeah, you are feeling hungry like a small baby." You know, that is how they are treating. We are treating children, because he knew whatever given to him or her as a baby will take. So that is how the developed world are treating us. You have now realized that we're supposed to, we are paying something called subsidy. They offer us about $800 million for soft loan, for soft something of the like a palliative. You understand what I'm saying? What does that mean to you?
Even though the federal government at some point said it was just a grant, not a loan.
Whatever, even if it is a grant, why are they IMF giving us that we must remove the subsidy? Subsidy is something that is very, what do you call it? We should have subsidy in other places, not only on foil, because the foil on is is eating deep inside us. The amount is horrible. When you know the amount that these people are taking with the name of subsidy, you can't sleep. But by 2nd June, if you are buying foil, be ready, tie your belt.
Actually see that coming, because a new administration will be put in, and they have other things to deal with.
That was the very date that the president have given. That subsidy will be removed on the 2nd June.
That's what I'm saying. By then, you have a new administration.
The new government decides
that they will in 2 days later, and then the subsidy will be removed. And I'm telling you this: no any president that will come after President Muhammadu Buhari that will not remove subsidy. If you didn't remove subsidy, what will you going to give Nigerians? Are you telling me it is only the petroleum people will be eating our money with the so-called those companies?
I'm sure you keep tabs on this, and they will remind you again that you said this. The no president after President Muhammadu Buhari.
They must have to remove it.
Okay.
Even if he will build, if Adibin this is his first tenure, he's going for 2nd tenure. He can't do the 2nd tenure without removing the subsidy.
Okay, that's what I'm saying, but not almost immediately after
whatever, he must remove it.
Okay.
All right. You made mention of the fact that some of these countries treat us like babies and spoon feed us so don't you think this is a situation of, because we owe them a lot? Let's take, for instance, China that we're talking about. This headline from The Nation says Nigeria defaulting in China loan repayment, and it says that we have accumulated over 110.31 billion naira in the last 2 years.
Let me give you example, or tell you something that maybe you know. As of last week, Nigeria has paid 3.1 trillion. The debts that they are owing. Why are they not saying it? They are saying this thing. One. Secondly, as of 2020, US is owing the world, listen to me very well, about $11 trillion. They are indebted. As of this year, they are indebting the world $30.1 trillion. Nothing happened to US. Who tell you there is a country that is not owing? Tell me one single country. And let me tell you something that you don't know. People will continue talking what they are talking about. People will tell you what they want to tell you. But they will never tell you the good side of the story.
But I don't think there's been a good side to all of this borrowing, because yesterday one of our national dailies also reported that Nigeria used 96.3% of its 2022 revenue to service debt, not even repayment, just servicing. So what does that leave us?
The other countries are doing the same. Don't be afraid of anything. Nothing will happen. In Ghana, they have to borrow even to pay salary. As of last year in November. What happened to them? When they are telling you the story before here, they will tell you that Ghana is doing better than Nigeria, which is not true. All the money that we are owing, it is not up to our GDP. It's about 46%. So we have every reason to borrow. We can even borrow more again with our level. But let me tell you, what people doesn't understand. Before this Naira falling, Naira value was a better in position last time. Once there was this change of redesign of Naira recently, the Naira value start coming back, appreciating. You understand what I'm saying? When we went to the court, we dealt with the federal government and the central bank governor, and the money starts coming out. That is why you are talking about kidnapping. I'm coming now to what you are asking, the other second question. Yeah. That means the lack of money that was not circulating or going to everybody's hands in the few past 3-4 months ago have helped in stopping or reducing drastically kidnapping. But now they have realized people have started getting money. And therefore, kidnapping has come back to be a business again as usual.
So that's the fall of the Naira.
That is one of the reasons why Naira was falling down, because the money was not circulating. They were in some people's hands, kept in the safety tanks. A part of safety tanks, they were kept in, what do we call it, farms, guest house and farm yard. You understand what I'm saying? Yes. And that is why the government complained through the central bank that, sir, this money is not in circulation, over 3 trillion naira. When they were mopping the money, they were able to mop up to 2.7 trillion, which means the government has achieved some of the reasons why they made the redesign of naira. Our only problem with the government is that you can't, just because you made a redesign of naira, Annabel should not go to the bank and be denied 5,000. We make a laws, a law, and you give an order that nobody should carry more than 20,000 every day. You and I, 20,000 is okay for us every day. If you can able to afford to have that type of money in our account. But we went there to pick your 2,000. It is not there. This is why we have an issue with the government. And even in UK or US, if you go to bank, you get what you want. So every time there is a limitations of what you are going to hold as a cash.
Even though we Nigerians, we always like to hold so much cash.
Yes, we are good in Owambe and whatever. Then the last one that I want to talk about, the security challenge of crises like in Plateau and whatever. And Kaduna State. And
then Northern Christian elders say that President Muhammadu Buhari's parting gift. Even though we recall that President Muhammadu Buhari said that he has fulfilled his promises with regards to tackling Boko Haram.
Okay, about Boko Haram, quite okay, things have appreciated in those very places. We have nothing to say no. We can't say no, because I know some of my friends and brothers, relatives, that used to stay 4 or 5 days at home without going out. They are just listening to bombs and the gunshot at Yobe and Borno State and some part of even Adamawa, where even the present governor is coming from. Madagali, Michika, and those neighboring of Borno State. When you come to Kano State, where am I coming from? Bombs were exploding day in, day out. Even my late emir was attacked, if you could remember vividly, where he was only 1 or 2 of them escaped. The other ones were killed. The last emir that was removed was also attacked, which I can tell you this vividly again. Locally, they don't know that very morning he traveled to UK. His mosque, where he normally lead the congregational prayers, more than how many people were killed that very day. After the bomb, the shotgun came up. So what we are saying now, after that, up to the date, even here in FCT, we are residents of FCT. You know what happened in Nyanya. You know what happened in the what do we call it? Not Daily Trust, the newspaper place.
This they do.
This they do. World, what do you call it? Office. What do you call it? UN office. What happened in even a club, Arusetu? A club was attacked. That time you are always scared. So after that, the bombs have vanished. Then we have a bandit. Then the bandits are the ones kidnapping whoever. Then it become a business. You understand what I'm saying?
So we shift from one sector
and that is what we are into. And then this thing that I'm talking about, today in the global world, no any state.
So are you indirectly saying that at least bombing has stopped, kidnapping has continued, so at least we are better off? Is that what you're saying?
Of course, the number of people that bandit will kill a day cannot able to oversee the number of people that were killed in Zuba or Madala church. They can't because there are. You see, when they
moved over 300 children from a particular region.
When they moved the 300 children, were they killed? Later, they were releasing the one after the other.
Chibok, some of them are still there.
Chibok guys were during the Boko Haram. That was why I said Boko Haram is more dangerous than the bandit. It is nothing. It is incomparable. Up to now, there are places that you cannot go in the Lake Chad border where we have Nigerian Lake Chad. I am just telling you this seriously because what people feel is this. You see, when you move to those very places, Annabel, you realize that Boko Haram have destroyed Nigeria in one of the Nigerian region.
I feel like what you just mean is that are we trying to undermine the fact that a death if you have killed 5 people and this is lesser than when you kill 100 people?
It's lesser. Are you not saying the reality?
When you kill,
are we just nobody want no leader? When they were even talking that time that Jonathan is this and this is government. No, Jonathan was a president. Nobody want to see his people dying. No president will be happy seeing people dying as a president. Tell it to anybody. Nobody will love to see people dying, and nobody will, look before this government comes. The DIC Kaduna Defense Industry Company, they are not producing anything more than salt. Today they are producing army carrier vehicle, bulletproof for war, and they have been using it in going to the war. Before they came, this DIC now is producing even what do we call it, air drone, and that's what is monitoring one of these Kaduna road and Kaduna side and some of the Birningari. There are a lot of things when you know them, you will surprise. It's the same people you will be hearing soldiers talking in the BBC and Voice of America. We are in the visual, they have attack also. Yes, you will think about that. And one of the reasons why such things is happening, there is no patriotism. You went to your village, you became a senator, you become a SA to a senator. If the senator say bring 5 people from you went and carry the most hopeless boys in your area who have been disturbing people, and those have no reason to go to the army. When they join the army, because they don't have a zeal to go to the army, they are going to the army or the military just because they don't have something to do. And that is why when they have started seeing, remember it was an oath for a military man to take. But by the time you had a military man talking anyhow and shouting and running away, Annabel, we are talking, we are not just saying.
Alright, so let's leave that story. In fact, if we continue on that, we might actually spend the whole day. So let's take this last one. If you can help us in less than 2 minutes, less than 1 minute. Our Rume's story says lawyers, expert raise concern on NNPCL stability. Court resolves him as NNPCL chairman. We saw that happen when he was removed by President Muhammadu Buhari, and now the court is reinstating him. And then you have the charge of, I think it was about 5 billion naira I saw.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on all of this?
I wish I'm in his shoes. I would get 5 billion. But the fact remains that these things have been happening. A lot of people have been reinstated by the court, but the governments are refusing to honor those things.
So you see that being the case here?
He made a case, and I hope the government will go to listen to him. But most of these things that we are talking about, I have already said it. It is unfair for someone to be announced and be removed. In no any good reasons we are giving. I don't know if you people had the reasons. that time when he was removed. He is a Nigerian. He was a senator, a 2 times or 3 times senator. He have a lot of respect from his people. Then you just overnight announce him and remove him. Maybe you just decided to bring someone who is a wife of your close ally. I think it is unfair. If it is to do with those things, then we are talking about nepotism. Because Chuba Okadibo is a friend to Mr. President. He was his running mate in 2000. Who are you accusing
of nepotism here now?
If it is the president that have done that direct, he has played nepotism.
So yeah,
because he decided to bring the wife of his friend. Are we afraid of saying the truth? You say the truth, you die. You didn't say it, you will die.
Thank you so much, Sarudana Hassan. It's always a pleasure having this talk with you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on the program.
All right, viewers, that's where we end this segment of the show. We've been chatting with Sarudana Hassan, and he is a public affairs analyst. Let's go straight to social media corner and see what exactly trended yesterday or last night on social media. And the first one we'll get is a video of apprentices who were punished, asked to kneel down on the roadside. And when I saw that picture, anyway, let's take that video and then we'll come back and talk more on that picture. The first thing for me in that picture is actually the caption, stubbornness students. And aside that, just when I saw that, I just remembered Lagos. This kind of things happening exactly in Lagos. You come late and your madam will ask you to kneel down and
but I don't really think all of this is necessary. You're coming to learn a trade or something, or a business, or whatever it is that you're coming to learn, and I feel like it's up to you to be disciplined enough to be invested in what you're doing. And if you're not that's enough reason to ask you to kneel by the road or flog you or whatever it is, because they are grown adults. Like, as you can see, they are women. So asking them to kneel on the roadside because they came late to work or whatever it is that they did is not even a good enough reason.
African mentality.
I tell you.
Though quite okay, there must be a culture to respect and tradition.
But then flogging them.
When we were flogged by our elders and parents sometimes back, we are now a good Samaritan.
But the Gen Zs don't believe that.
The Gen Z that those that have not believed about it. Is there anything good about that? When they brought the issue of this child rights, it is a senator that came up. I think it was the same Adorube, either him or Abaribe. He said he beat his child this morning. Please, they should stop. There is culture where you talk and an Oibo man will tell you, "Mommy, don't be stupid." You understand what I'm saying?
But beating and all of that.
Which type of beating? That is why even in the schools, there is what they call corporal punishment. You can't give someone corporal punishment, but the beating should be a kind of moral and matured way. You understand what I'm saying? We should not take it to be an issue. Those who are placing this in most of in the social media, they are the type of Gen Z that we are talking about.
All right, let's take the next one, and this one is for a particular pastor that is complaining about techno song Pana. What is he complaining about? Let's see that video and come back to take more on social media trends.
Have you listened to Pana by Techno? Oh, you know the song? They say you like cassava. I have what? I have big cassava. Nigerians are laughing. They know exactly what that is. He's talking about I have big reproductive organ. But if you're not from there, you are singing along. And in your mind, since I don't get it, your spirit gets it. The real you is the spirit. It already got it. And your spirit is already tuning into that realm of cassavas. Hey.
What is it with big cassava? That song has been, I think that song is like over 3 years now. So
I think more.
Yes.
But like for what he said, I think this happens in another country, and he's trying to make his followers understand that Nigerians might sing the song, but you are singing and you don't understand what you're singing. And like you said, if you think you don't understand it, your spirit should understand it. And recently I was having a conversation with somebody, and he was saying that some of the things that they preach about now in church are the things that he doesn't even understand why it's being preached about in church. Because I don't really think that this is one of them.
You see, decency and morality is very count. Let me give you an example.
Okay, I think our time is fast. Then let's. All right, so I don't have a problem with giving out money, but I have a problem with abusing the naira. You could actually give it out in envelopes without throwing it out. Thank you so much for listening. I am Annabel Orji.
And I am Sandra. I will see you tomorrow.